Moment. All right, folks, happy July 26, 2024 on this incredible Friday. I have one incredible special guest. He is a great friend of mine, and I know you've been on what we call the journey of life. I'm not even going to say the word vacation because you are out there in Myrtle Beach and you're over here in my area in Wilmington, Hampstead, and we just weren't able to make it work this past week, but I'm really excited to be able to hang out with your two beautiful girls, Olivia and I want to say Natalie, the little 7-year-old, and Miss Olivia is 12, and your beautiful wife, G. Absolutely amazing. And here's a fun fact about Nate, minus the fact that he has an incredible resume from being a police officer to working in the automotive industry, pretty much climbing the corporate ladder there in the automotive industry, but then started working with North American Senior Benefits, got his insurance license, and started working with us back in November of 2020, right smack in the middle of COVID practically. And the neat thing, fun fact about Mr. Nate is that this was crazy, Nate, when you actually told me this. I was like, what? Is that you are a pole vaulter in high school? No joke. And I really don't know what it means. You said that you had made states, but then that you did 14 feet 6 inches in the pole vault. So please tell me about that. Guys, Nate Sahlman, let's give it up. Let's hear that chat light up, how excited you are. But Nate, seriously, tell me about this pole vault. Like, of all the things, why the pole vault?
Yeah, so I mean, it was one of those things I'd never ever seen before. Folks who don't know what it is, it's the person that runs down this little like runway with a giant stick. You like plug it into the ground and then you go flying up into the air. As a freshman, I had seen someone do that, and I was like, "That's really cool. I think I'd be good." And so I kind of just went over to coach. I was like, "Hey, can I give it a shot?" And literally, I guess I was just a natural. I didn't know what to do. I just like shoved the stick into the hole and I went up in the air, and the coach was like, "Okay, you're on the team." So it was pretty neat to do that, and 14.6 is my PR at the time. It's pretty high up in the air. It's I mean the college athletes are doing 17, 18, sometimes 20 feet now at this point. But it's pretty cool on the way down anyway because you get to have some time to like think about what you did, whether you made the jump or not. So, but
Unbelievable. You
fun.
continue to amaze me. And you're quite an adventurer. I know whenever we go on any world travels, I know we had the NASB trip. We went on an amazing cruise. And I can't even remember the island that we went to, but I remember like you and I were like, oh yeah, we're gonna go climb these cliffs. We're gonna go ahead and, pretty much almost like rock climb all the way into this ocean here. And we're like, let's go. Where do you get that sense of adventure, by the way? Where do you get that from? It's G, isn't it? She's the adventurer.
Oh no, not really. I mean, she does like to adventure, but I don't know. It's just I guess just being a guy. We like to do crazy things. We like to go into areas that we don't know and maybe get in a little trouble along the way. So that's just been my nature since I was a kid.
Amen. Amen. Well, let me ask you this. I know it was about a week ago, me and you were talking on the phone, and you said this power line. And I was like, gosh, that's epic right there. And you said, Ashley, agents have to go for the no. And it really stuck with me so much so that I'm doing a conference call with you on it. And we're going to be talking about 3 segments today about how and why it's important to go for the nose. So, the first segment that we're going to be talking about when it comes to going for the nose and why this is so important as a subject matter is because the first thing is that going for the nose shifts your identity. Nate, I'm going to go ahead and let you loose here. Let's talk about it.
Yeah. So I mean, look, I've been watching your journey now for a little while actually, and I think your team has too in regards to your newfound love for fitness and health, right? Um, if I had to guess, most people on the call, including you and myself, we have all tackled this journey at some point in our lives. And I guarantee for most people who haven't completed or haven't gotten to the goals that they set out for health and fitness wise, it's because of the lack of, I guess, results that have happened quickly on in the journey. I can't believe we're already halfway through the year. I'm already starting to think about what my New Year's resolutions are going to be. And obviously, Jordan goes over every year like, hey, one of the number one things for New Year's resolution is being healthier. Now, the average resolution, though, doesn't make it past the first 30 days of January of the year. How crazy is that? You have something that you set out for, you get all excited and motivated for, and you can't even last 30 days towards your number one goal of the brand new year. And I think we've all done that in one way, shape, or form. But I think weight loss or health is definitely the big thing. But I think the reason, and the number one reason that maybe agents fail in this business, is that we are looking for results immediately, right? If you're at the gym and you're working hard and you're doing this and that, but you're looking at the scale, or you're trying to fit into this piece of clothing or whatever, or outfit, and you just don't see the pounds shredding, you just don't see the results. You look in the mirror every single day and it's like, I look exactly the same. I'm hungry as heck. All right. I'm going to the gym. I'm doing all these things, but I look in the mirror every morning and I look the same. The scale is not moving. And so I think a lot of people get really upset with the process, right? And that it's not happening fast enough. Now, if you only focus on the end results, which is, let's just say, the weight, right? You want to be X amount of weight. There's really not a point in time where you could look at things and say, hey, this date, this time, I'm going to be weighing X, Y, and Z. For a lot of folks, it's an unknown thing. But because the process is so slow, the points are the changes happen so slowly, and you can't see it monetarily, that we get defeated, right? Because we're only focused on the outcome versus the process. I'm sure you've kind of felt that way in the past,
Yeah.
in regard so far.
Absolutely. I mean, I know that we were talking just the other day and we were just talking about, okay, if we could break this down into three nuggets as to how we can shift somebody's mindset, but then we just started going down a deeper rabbit hole. And I said, Nate, I don't think it's so much as a mindset shift as it is an identity shift. One of the things that I was telling you about is, when it came to the fitness and the workout is, yeah, I had 7 years where I was employed, I was working at Gold's Gym, but I'm healthier now 12 years later, being away from Gold's Gym than I ever was working at Gold's Gym. And I really think that why is that? It was because working out, I want to be a healthy person. I will be a healthy person. It's become an identity of mine. And when things become an identity of yours, for example, the gift of rejection anchors your true identity. It really does. If you really think about all the crazy things, all the doors that were closed in your face, not like legit, but like as an agent, but all the doors of your entire life where people said you were too short or you're too ugly or you weren't fit enough or you're not good enough for this, you're not going to go to college, you can't do this. And it's like all those doors that were closed, all that rejection that maybe you felt in the moment that you weren't accepted, that you weren't worthy, that you weren't enough. Guess what? What if it was all meant for something? And I just really believe that there is a gift in rejection, but you have to understand that you've got to make this whole go for no's part of your identity. Almost where I don't like saying the word crave rejection. You just have to have a different relationship with how you view rejection. 110%. And I know that when we say have a different relationship with rejection, if I really think about this, and Nate, you would probably agree with me, whenever I have launched a brand new agent, and I never know, like they could have an incredible interview, we select them, we hire them, but then once they get out on the field, they go through field training, nobody likes rejection. Nobody likes having to slowly wait for something, right? I'm not telling you to like the process of rejection. I'm not telling you to like the process of conflict or like the process of hard. But what I am saying is, can you embrace it? Can you have a different relationship with it? I'm not telling you to love it. I'm not telling you to like it. It doesn't feel good when somebody says no to your face or when you don't make that sale and you've spent an hour and a half with that person and then you leave without a sale. It doesn't feel good. But can
Mhm.
you embrace it and have a different level of a identity shift with it? So let's keep going on to this shift of identity here.
Yeah, so it's interesting that you brought up the ride along, right? And you don't know how things are going to go with a new agent, and then they're on their own, and then hey, let's see what happens, right? Well, I think it's really interesting because again, I love it. I don't know about you, but when I have a ride along or when I have someone who's with one of my managers and they're doing a ride along, yes, do we want them to see a sale? Of course we do. But I don't know about you, but sometimes I feel the people who come on when it's the worst day actually sometimes do the best, right? When they see a lot of no's all throughout the day, they're getting doors slammed in their faces. They're not getting the presentations. They can't help someone because they're in a really good situation already, right? Yes, it stinks because we don't get a sale. But those people almost do better than the folks where you make 4 grand in a day, right? You get into every house, you sell every single person, and I think it's mainly because of that mindset, right? The mindset of where you're at, of the expectation of, hey, I just watched this person make $3,000 in one single day, and dang it, that was easy. It looks so easy. And then when they go out, they're obviously not professionals yet. They're new, right? And what looks easy on our side really is not as easy because we make it look easy because we're good, right? Now they get no's and they can't even get into the house, let alone do a presentation. And it's no, no, no. And very quickly, you can watch that light change. I talk to people all the time about how we need to protect our minds because it's the most important part of this business. I have an agent currently right now who's struggling. However, their first week, they crushed it. They killed it, right? They got into every house. They were making sales left and right. And now, to them, it feels like they can't sell anything. They can't get into any house. What's changed? What's changed in that person's mentality? Do they not know as much today as they knew in their first week? Of course not. They know way more things now. They know how to handle way more objections, way more scenarios that come in place. The biggest thing that has changed is their mindset, their energy, right? The energy transfer at the door. And now they are no longer embracing, since they had a clean slate before of like, hey, I'm getting in, I'm excited. Now it's their mind has gone to no, they don't want the product. No, they don't want to let me in. No, they don't remember the house or the lead. And all these no's and no's and no's are allowing them to go into a negative mind space, right? And because of that, the energy drops and everything else does too. We're in a place where we really should be embracing these no's because at the end of the day, how many more no's do we get than yeses? I mean, it's a landslide based off of, actual results. And too many people, I think, are focused on those yeses only, the results only, versus realizing that this is a lifestyle. This is a place where we get to embrace what we do. We're not forced into anything. And I'm sure you can agree with that with your working out journey. It's a lifestyle now, right? It's part of who you are, what you do. You incorporate it throughout your entire day, not just specifically in one area. And you're going towards those no's. I mean, who likes to work out? Who likes to feel sore? Who likes to wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning? Who likes to eat greens and chicken when everyone else is having nachos and all the things that they're not supposed to have, right? It's all no's. You're hearing it all throughout the day, but because you've embraced the journey and you want to do it, not you have to do it, it's not that bad anymore, right? And I think that that's a big thing that people need to kind of understand is that we're going for no all the time. That's the process, right? And then obviously metrics, right? It's one thing to know the mindset and know what we're looking for, but it's another thing to put that into practice. So, actually, I know you do an amazing job and your team does an amazing job with these trackers and things of that nature. What are you guys doing currently right now to track your businesses?
Yeah, absolutely. I just want to say, because I love y'all. I don't know if you see how powerful that line is that he said about you're doing it because you want to, not because you have to. And that's lifestyle. That's identity. And I think that's so powerful to understand that. I love what he said about when people sit here and say, oh, well, you've got to be able to balance your life. And how do you balance? That's probably the number one thing I hear all the time is how do you balance your life, Ashley, with being a mom, being a wife, being a partner, doing all these things? You're a philanthropist. And it's like, guys, like NASB is part of my identity. It's a part of who I am. It collides in everything that I do. Just like being a mom, it collides into everything that I do. Being a mom is practically part of NASB. And I think that if you guys can embrace this power of no's, because you can't get to the yes unless you go through the no's. Notice that I said no's as plural and then yes is a single. It's singular. You got to go through no's to get to the yes. And I think, like I said, rejection is redirection. Rejection causes you to redirect your focus and your intention into what matters the most. Okay. Yes, we get it. Everybody wants the results, but can you just absolutely embrace the process? I'm not telling you to love it at times, but then sometimes, aren't you proud of yourself? Every time I leave the darn gym, me and my daughter, Chloe, she's 10 years old. Man, I love and I crave that quality time with my daughter. And so when we're working out together, man, we have a blast together and we work out. Afterwards, do you not feel proud of yourself for doing the work that you didn't want to do, but you did it anyway? Yes, you do. But when you're going to the door because the rejection is on your face, your seniors, your clients, they're going to perceive you how you perceive yourself. And do you have an identity that you're just already rejected, right? Or that, yep, this day already sucks. No, it's a great day. Maybe there's some hard things, hard building blocks in there, but you can find something good in every single day. Second segment, Nate just
So
went
real
over.
quick,
Yeah, go
before you
ahead.
go, you just said something, right? You don't you feel good when you do what you're supposed to do, right? When you wake up in the morning, go to your gym, you have your workout, and you feel good. What's the opposite though? What do you feel like when you don't do what you're supposed to do?
Mm,
What does your day feel like? You almost feel guilty, right? You don't have the energy, you don't have whatever. It's thrown off your whole agenda, right? So it's like you get punished, right? For not doing what you don't want to do, right? It doesn't feel good, but you still don't feel good even when you don't do it, right? So it's like it's a lose-lose on that side versus just doing what you are supposed to do, what you have committed to doing, right?
absolutely. You know why I think it hurts, and again, that's where self-respect comes into play. That's where character comes into play, is because you were built for more, and it doesn't feel good when you're not doing the things that you're supposed to be doing. And then, of course, embracing those no's. Man, we could just go off that bone, Nate, alone. But let's go ahead and go into the second segment of, okay, how do we get there? Like, how do we get there to really understanding go for the no's? Like, how do we do this, you guys? Like, I get it. You're telling me to embrace the no's. It doesn't feel good, but I'm that person right now that I'm struggling with the no's. I'm really struggling with this topic. How do we get there? And how do we improve this go for the no's? Well, here you go. You got to improve when it comes to your NAC. And you're like, what is that, Ashley? Your no's acquisition cost. How many no's does it take to get to a yes? And everybody's going to be a little bit different. And how many no's does it really take for it to lead you to a yes? For example, we all know that the NASB statistic back in 2020 was for every dollar spent, it would yield a $10.60 return on investment. So, okay, let's break this down a wee bit more, shall we? For every two no's, you would yield a yes. So if our average monthly premium last week, because I'm all about metrics, I love, key performance indicators, the activity, the door approaches, presentation count, how many closes did you have? So last week, our team, we did over 342,000 AP. And of the lives that we protected, we broke it down to $84 a month. So therefore, if you do the math with just a starting out agent, a yes, the return on investment for a yes was $529 in commission. So the cost of your no's, if let's say, for example, you're getting the cheapest of leads and they were $3. So for every 3 presentations, that was only $9. So for 3 presentations, that cost you $9. That return on investment was $176 inside the presentations that both of them said no to, but you yielded a yes on that third presentation. So those no's, guess what the return on investment was? $176. $176. So what is it to you? Because you can't get the profit without what? Paying the price. You can't get the profit without paying the price. And the paying the price is embracing the no's, and it's going through the no's. let's talk about this. Nate, I want to pass it to you because I know that we were talking about this, and just when it comes to the cost, the reward of things, let me bounce it back to you, buddy.
Yeah. So I think too many times new agents are, let's just call it what it is. They're amateurs, right? They don't know what they're doing yet. And even for some veteran agents, even though their skills are getting better in the business, they're still amateurs because they're not tracking their business, right? Joshua always says you can't improve what you don't track. And that's same for your journey of health, right? You can't improve your health if you don't know, if you're not tracking, right? Your intake, your caloric intake, as well as your caloric output, right? And so what I would recommend for new agents and even all veteran agents at this point is to keep track of your numbers, right? Numbers don't lie at the end of the day. So some things to kind of keep in mind, keep track of the leads that we buy, right? The investment of leads, the type of leads. On a day-to-day basis, you should, I always kept a notepad in my car, handwritten, okay? It's important, but I tracked how many doors I knocked on. I tracked how many people I actually spoke to at the door. That was the lead. I tracked how many presentations I did, and then ultimately how much premium I wrote from those houses. Okay. The thing that's so powerful about this is because once you have your numbers and you do it consistently, which is really important, consistently, you now can take all of the emotional roller coaster out of the game, right? So many agents ride the highs really, really high and the lows really, really low. When you take numbers, and not just your numbers, right, Ashley? Like, you've got the team averages that you just kind of went over just now. But hey, that's the team. That's not me, right? But if you know your own numbers, you should have conviction to know, hey, just looking at my daily activity that I do over the past month, 2 months, 3 months, I know that I close one out of every three presentations. So let's say, for instance, it's 6 o'clock at night. You're getting crushed, right? Everyone's telling you no, you can't get a situation, you're tired, you're hungry, but it's 6 o'clock and you're at three presentations. Instead of being upset, you should be excited because your numbers have proven to you over 3 months' time or whatever amount of time that generally three presentations leads to one deal. So you're due. Even if you're on the fourth presentation, still nothing. You are really due at this point. And so you should be excited for what's coming because you're right around the corner from a sale. And too often people go home. They're like, today's just not my day, right? I'm just gonna go home and do and start over tomorrow. Man, you're on the 1 yard line. You're like right there. You're that person who got a breakaway, right? They're holding the football, they're running down the field, and at the 1 yard line, they drop the ball, right? So close. One more door, one more knock. Know your numbers. And at the end of the day, when you do have a rougher day, a rougher week, you're not able to kind of look to see, is it actually a rough week, or did I not work as many hours in the field as I normally do? Did I not knock as many houses? Did I not have any contacts or presentations, right? And so it's no longer a good or bad week. It's let's look at the factual numbers of what I did. Did I put the effort in that warrants the results that I want to have, right? What do you have on that, actually?
I mean, it just correlates to a good week equals good activity. And it's almost, if we could just almost transform the words that we're saying to ourselves. A bad week, okay, well, look at your metrics. Is it because of bad activity? And check this out. Here's just the way, it's just, this will scare you, okay? The reward for your action is a tenfold return. But what's the cost of your inaction? I don't know about you, but even saying that word just gave me some goosebumps. If I told you that your nose, the return on that was $176 per no. So when the cost is higher than your return, you have a deficit. But who suffers the most? You, your family, your legacy, your bloodline. So when we have the ability to be operating out of our fullest potential, but we choose not to, we actually start creating deficits in our character. We start creating deficits in our own family because we're not providing. So if we're reverse engineering and we put action to going for the nose, what does it really look like? And I want to give you two scenarios here of what going for the nose and versus just like, okay, I'll go for the nose a little bit. But when you're going for the nose, let's say, for example, in a day, you do 6 door approaches, 3 presentations, and you get 1 close. Because we all know typically NASB standard is normally 1 out of 3 will close. So let's hypothetically say this, okay? So if we have 15 presentations in a week, just Monday through Friday, that's 10 no's and you got 5 yeses. Check this out. That's $10,580 in commissions. We're not even talking about teams. We're not even talking about expanding your empire with your agency and hiring. No, we're just talking about you, boo. That's all we're talking about. $10,580 in commissions when you're doing 15 presentations. You get 10 no's. You're going to get 5 yeses. That's 60 presentations in a month, 40 no's. It's the consistency of you going for the no's, increasing that level of attacking. I'm motivated by that no. Just like what you said, it's 6 o'clock at night. You should be jacked up, fired off, pissed off, whatever it is, so that you can get what? The 20 yeses in a month. What is that going to yield to you? Over $10,000 plus of income. And that could be your first full month if you're a brand new agent with us. Okay, well, what if you're just kind of cutting that in half? If you cut and have that lower work ethic of inaction, I guess you could say, unless, for example, just say you have 4 door approaches in a day, 2 presentations. If you are that agent right now doing just 10 presentations a week versus 15, check out the difference here of just lowering it just a wee bit, the effect it's going to have negatively when it comes to your income. You ready for this? You're only going to make $5,288 in commissions when you're running for the what? 40 presentations, you run for the 20 no's, and you only get 10 yeses. I mean, legit, you guys, that's like 2.5 sales a week if you're doing 4 door approaches and 2 presentations a day. No wonder you're looking at your metrics and you're saying to yourself, God, I don't know what it is. Maybe it's the leads. Maybe it's the city I'm in. Yeah, maybe the seniors just aren't home. And you keep blaming everything else versus looking at your own inactivity and saying, it's me. It's me. I got to have a different relationship. I have to have a different relationship. Good activity or bad activity. Which one is it? It's not a good week or a bad week. Good activity or bad activity. We got to make sure that we're analyzing the data. Let's talk about that last and third segment, Nate.
Yeah. So at the end of the day, you have to be productive, not busy. And although we receive a lot of no's throughout the day, we also should be giving them out, right? We should be saying to no of scrolling through the phone on Facebook during the workday. We should say no to the errands that our family want us to do during the workday. We should be saying no to whatever it is that's distracting us, right? Because we're able to really focus on the time that we have. Like I said, car business, used to work 75, 80 hours a week, but that was more being busy than productive. A lot of time there was so much downtime. We have the ability to work smarter, not harder, and put all those things into place so we're being productive. I would say that most people, though, are wasting at least an hour and a half per day, right? And I actually just did the math, right? You miss out on those X amount of presentations. That leads to X amount of apps, which leads to X amount of dollars, which I think for everyone, if they focused on that hour and a half and turned it into being productive, it would probably result to at least 1 extra app per week. And at 1 app for a new agent is about $500. That's $2,000 in 1 month's time. I would venture to say for most agents, that's the difference between making it here and not making it here, right? And so all of that stuff compounds into, the end result. So, as far as something to take away with today, I hope you all don't just listen to what Ashley and I are saying. Let's put it into practice. So I'm challenging all of your agents to actually start tracking. Track your information. Don't do it for anybody else other than you. And I would say something that's going to help you is having an accountability partner. Doesn't have to be your manager, Ashley, someone who you trust, who you talk to in the field, and you guys go back and forth. Hey, are you doing your nose? Did you do your nose today? Did you track this? Did you track that? Right? Maybe you could do a little something for the people actually who track and show you at the end of this month what everything looks like, or 30 days from now.
I couldn't agree more, and I love that. So let's start tracking the nose. Track the nose, and then also, like what you said, have an accountability partner. And here, Nate, we were just talking about this, is he who has the most nose is going to be the one that has the most what? Results. He is going to be the one, she is going to be the one that has the most yeses. Run after the nose. Who's going to win a mile run? I just saw Christian yesterday. He was at soccer practice and they did a mile run and they were, timing everybody because of metrics. And here comes my boy Christian, who was the slowest runner about 2 years ago. And of all these guys, I think there's 30 of them that are these soccer players in middle school, and he comes in 4th place. And check this out. I was like, well, how'd that make you feel, sir? And he was like, oh, but mom, I could have gotten into 3rd or 2nd. And I'm like, that's my boy. That's my boy. Right. And it's like, it's not how I feel. It's not how I view this. But when we ask people, how do you feel? Because that's where self-respect, that's where you being proud, that self-pride, when we ask somebody, well, how did it make you feel? Right? Like if you're proud of being in 4th place and I'm proud of you, right? Because if
Mhm.
if we're performing at the level that you want to perform at and you're excited about and you love the results, excellent. You're making $5,000 a month. I'm proud of you. How does that make you feel? If you're pissed off about the results, it's probably because you need to have a different relationship with no, period. Nate, any ending words, sir?
Well, I just thank you always for talking to me and embracing me, pouring into me and my team. I'm so thankful for having me on this Zoom, and I look forward to hearing some of the results that are come through. Again, the people who get the most no's get the most AP, and we can look at that in every aspect here. You're a partner for a reason. You've gotten more no's at the door than anyone on this call. You've had more rejection from every prospect or potential agent. You've had more agents leave the business. You had more managers leave the business. The person who gets the most no's is the most profitable, and you're living proof of it.
I will say this in closing. Those that say no to you will be your audience as they watch God putting favor on you and blessing you. Period. Let's go. So, folks, let's make it a great day. Let's run after those no's and let's make sure all those no's can be in the audience as they watch our life continue to propel, because we're not stopping. We're not letting up. Let's go for those no's. Thank you, Nate. Appreciate you big time, buddy.